Okay, it is 6 o'clock, and we would like to welcome you all to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, June 10th, 2025. Madam Clerk, can we start with a roll call?
Garner.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Daffer.
Here.
Turner.
Here.
Kehoe. Morgan.
Here.
Kirkman.
Here.
Selman. Here. All present.
Thank you. Report on council actions and communications, Rodney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. We had 4 public hearings at council this last time. The first one was a variance for setbacks for property line. This was if you remember, the Radix building across the street from the cheese factory off of Franklin. This is just right next to them, and that one was approved. And the next one was a request for lot size, a variance for lot size. They took a kind of an oversized parcel and divided it into 2 parcels that were 5,000 square feet. And that was under the requirement for 6,000 feet for the zone. And that one was approved as well. It's at the southeast corner of Banner Street and East Sheridan Avenue. And then the next one was an annexation and zoning near the southeast corner of North Canada Road and Eustick Road. And this was for RMH zoning totaling 67.93 acres, and then GB2 zoning totaling 9.94 acres for mixed-use development. And that was the Murphy development that you recommended approval back in March, and that one was approved by City Council. And then the last one was a text amendment. All the text amendments that came before you, and you had recommended approval on May 13th, and those were approved as well. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I guess first, most importantly, as the newly elected chair, I want to take just a couple of minutes. We're going to not change things, we're just going to make things a little more official and efficient, I think. And hopefully it will reflect the way we act and behave, I guess, up here on the public, and maybe it'll help times them behave a little better also. So I'm guilty, I'll admit it, I'll be the first one to admit. When we speak, I would like that the floor be given to you. So ask the chair or vice chair for the floor, and then wait to be recognized, whether that's just a visual head nod or a vocal, whatever that looks like. I just think it's a little more official, and I think it'll help our meetings run a little more efficiently. And then I think it will help the public understand that this is an official public meeting, and we are being recorded, and it's not, we're not just here. This is serious decisions that we're making that affect a lot of people and their livelihoods and their lives. So, I know that we take it serious, but we need to show them that we take it serious so they understand, one of the reasons that we're here. And I think, like I said, if we just make a small little effort like that, I think it'll go a long way. Also, I'm going to start just about every meeting by thanking everyone for coming and participating. It's important to us as commission members to see the public. We're here as volunteers. We trying to make the city a better place for not just us, but for everybody that lives here. We all have families, and I have children that, I hope someday they're living here with their children, and I want to help make Nampa a place that they want to stay, not that they want to move away from. So it's important for us to see you here as part of these public hearings and part of the meetings. We'd encourage you to get as much involvement in city affairs as you can, not just come when it affects your neighborhood, but be a part of the plan. Help us help you shape Nampa to what you want it to become. So anyway, with that, I'll jump off my soapbox and we will get this meeting started. The way things will work, fairly simple. We'll call the applicant up. They'll have 7 minutes to present. When they are finished with their presentation, another new one, commissioners, that I would like to do is wait till they're done with their presentation and then ask questions. Maybe even hold some of those questions until after staff report or to the point where we call them back up. Because I think a lot of times some of the questions that we do ask will be answered.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I vote that we approve the consent agenda.
Yes, thank you. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. No, you're good. Otherwise, I would have forgotten and. Okay, so then after the applicant comes up, we'll have a staff report. Staff gets unlimited time. Don't know why. Usually they're pretty quick and efficient. And then we will open up public testimony. There was a pre-sign-up sheet. If you have signed up, the clerk will call you up. If you haven't signed up, we will allow you to speak. All you need to do is raise your hand when we get to that point. Each person will be given 3 minutes and 3 minutes only to speak, so think about what you want to say. If you're listening to other people speak, even if it doesn't have to do with a specific item you're listening to, maybe it'll give you some ideas of questions or things you want to say. Please write those things down. It's important that we stay on task and keep within our limits. We ask that when you do come to the mic, you give your name and address for the records. Please speak clearly into the mic as the meeting is being recorded. And we need to be able to, in the future, look back and clearly hear not only your testimony, but who gave the specific testimony. After the public has spoken, we will call the applicant back up, at which time they get to rebut or, more than anything, answer a lot of questions that the public may have about their specific project. Then we will ask questions of them. We'll ask some questions of staff. We'll close the public hearing, and then we will deliberate. And we would ask that while we are deliberating, that you respect us like we respect you when you give your testimony. So then we will make a decision on each item based on our deliberation. So with that, we will go to the first public hearing item. It is a conditional use permit for a home occupation gun-related sales and service in an RS 8.5 zoning district at 5616 East Walbrook. Gunsmith service that will include repair and alterations to rifles and internet sales that include product pickup and delivery from local gun stores. Is the applicant available? Go ahead and come on up.
Evening. Mark Bigler from 5616 East Walbrook Street in Nampa. First time I've been to one of these meetings, I'm not sure exactly what you're looking for, but I guess I'll just tell you about myself. I first came to Idaho in 1975, spent 3 years at Mountain Home Air Force Base as a crash rescue firefighter, and then a year and a half in Alaska at Eielson Air Force Base. Came back to Idaho and worked out at the Air National Guard part-time and went to school some at Boise State and worked for the Forest Service during the summer on a interagency crew out of the National Fire Center here at the airport. Then 2 years full-time with the Air National Guard as an assistant fire chief. From there, I went back to Indiana. I got my engineering degree from Purdue University, electrical engineering, and wound up staying back in the Midwest. I worked for Delco Electronics for 5 years, Chrysler for 15, and then the last 15 at John Deere in Dubuque, Iowa, testing software on construction and forestry equipment. during that time, worked on guns for probably 40 years. And it's just sort of a hobby of mine that I've done for a long time. The last 3 or 4 years, I've really sort of picked it up and purchased equipment and stuff for doing laser etching on stuff and that type of work. I've gone to training with some of the best, basically, gunsmiths probably in the country. There's a guy out of Iowa that lives in Florida now that runs the Accuracy Institute. I could do barrel making, but I don't have that equipment, and I don't plan on doing any of that work. So my work is mostly hand tools and lasers, basically, fiber laser and a RF laser system. And hand tools, slugging barrels, lapping stuff, that kind of work on guns. Don't need the money. It's a hobby. And I like the gun shooting community. And I guess if I can help younger people get into it and enjoy it and even do stuff for them for nothing, which I've been doing for a long time, just as a hobby for my friends and family. I've been working on my own stuff here since I've been here, and I don't think anybody in my neighborhood would even know I've been doing it. So I guess if you have any questions, that's...
So I guess the main thing for me is just kind of tell us about what your like day-to-day or week-to-week would look like.
Probably 4 days a week, probably early mornings from 7 or so until about noon, 1 o'clock, working on actual hardware. Then the rest of the time I've got an office where I've got computers that basically I do the design work and that kind of stuff on it. Shipping stuff out, having stuff shipped in, no foot traffic, other than UPS or whatever. Don't have any desire to do retail sales of guns. Looking mainly to build precision rifles. I shoot precision rifle stuff, long range, and lightweight backcountry hunting rifles. So higher end guns, that market.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Chair, it didn't sound like it, but would ammunition be part of your business model?
I would probably be developing hand loads for guns, and then giving them ballistic profiles for it, and what the hand loads that I've developed for their particular gun would have entailed, powder charge, bullet, that type of stuff.
Okay.
So I've hand loaded for probably 40 years now, so.
Mr. Chairman? For your, what do you have as far as your on-hand stock would you have? And if you did so, where's it going to be stored? Do you have gun safes?
Yes.
What's that all that set up?
I have 2 private gun safes, and I plan on purchasing a third that would be strictly for the business for guns that come in and would be stored.
Okay, and then how many guns do you think you'd have on hand at a time
Oh,
for customers? I know
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
obviously.
5 to 10, probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
All
We'll
right.
call you back up at
All
the
right.
end, and
Thank you for your time.
you bet. Damien, looks like you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Today, the requested action item is pretty straightforward. It's a conditional use permit for a home occupation for gun-related sales, for a gunsmith service to buy and sell guns online, as well as include repairs and alterations to the rifles and pickups and deliveries to other local gun stores. So the property details, currently the comprehensive plan designates this as residential mixed use. The current zoning is RS 8.5. To the north, south, east, and west, we have other single-family residential developments, and utilities are already in access to this project. So here are some of the applicable regulations. Here are the applicable regulations for a conditional use permit. We will cover these a little bit later in the findings. Here are the regulations around our home occupations. So with this application, the conditional use permit will be for the gun sales, but they will still have to get a home occupation, which allows them to do certain business practices within their home. Per 10-10A, there are certain home occupations that do require a conditional use permit. Gun sales is one of them. As far as correspondence, all agencies had no comments except for the building department. A permit will have to be pulled with the building department with a list of their chemicals, cleaners, solvents, the locations of the works, and exhaust ventilations designs that are up to building code. So here are some of the proposed conditions of approval, that they will follow all city codes, including City Ordinance Title 4, building regulations, and state adopted building code. A mechanical permit will need to be obtained for the ventilation system, that the owner shall maintain all regulatory permitting licenses, operational procedures as required by law. A conditional use permit shall be granted to the applicant, and the location and the subject of the request will not be transferable to another location or persons. And a home occupation permit must be completed with planning and zoning. So for the proposed findings, the first is that the proposed use is supported by the Nampa Comprehensive Plan. This is supported through our entrepreneurial development, seeing business growth, that the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the property and project will not adversely impact the intended character and appearance of the general vicinity. No changes will be made to the outside of the house. The home will still maintain the character of a single-family home. That the proposed use will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services. The existing home is currently being served. That the proposed use will not be detrimental to the economic welfare of the community. No changes are being proposed to the outside of the home, so it will continue as normal. And that the proposed use will not involve any activities, processes, materials, equipment, and conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any persons, property, or general welfare by reason of excess traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glares, and odors. With this, the applicant will be required to meet the home occupation standards, and the business is required to get a federal firearms license. So staff found all of these conditions to be met. And here are your potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Damien, does the city keep track of how many conditional use permits for gun sales? A tally on that or not? Or anything? I mean, if we approve 10 for coffee shops, will we know that we have 10 new coffee shops next week, or?
Mr. Chair? I don't know that we keep track of the total number. We can go back and look at the number that we've approved in the last, 10 years or so. The records get a little bit more dicey as we get farther back.
That makes sense.
So that's a little challenging, but when it's interesting, these seem to come in waves. We didn't have them for a couple of years now. I think it was a year and a half ago before we had the last one, and there was a bunch all at once. And
we got two tonight.
Now we've got two tonight. It was really strange, but. Yeah, we don't necessarily keep track of every single one on a consistent basis, but we could run a report and find that information if that's desired.
Not by me. I'm just curious whether we kept track.
Yeah.
But unless I don't want to know what the answer is, just other than yes or no.
Mr. Chairman, Damien and/or Rodney staff, whoever, it seems like this is the first time in all of them that we've had that there's been a requirement for them to get the building permit and a mechanical permit. That seems like a new thing. Is that something that was generated by some sort of incident, or what's the impetus of this?
Mr. Chair, we do have a new commercial plan reviewer, and he is very black and white by the book. And so I think probably what's happening is he's just stating residential building code and saying, if you're making any changes to the building, these are the things that you're going to need.
You know, if follow-up, sorry, Mr. Chair, because it seemed like it said that the building permit would be a part of it and that there would be some inspections. Is there an inspection that will go on to make sure that the house has the ventilation before they require the required ventilation system?
Mr.
Or
Chair.
is there anything on, I'm just curious as to what would be required above and beyond what's normal in a residential home?
Mr. Chair, if there are any chemicals being used, it may be required that they have a special ventilation system put in the house for the chemicals specifically. That would be a conversation they need to have with the building department, and the building department would come out and do a special investigation if they wanted, or a special inspection, excuse me, if they requested that, just to see if they do need to put something in, and then they would be required to get a building permit. We would track that. And if they don't get one within the 6-month period that the conditional use permit is good for, the conditional use permit would expire. If they don't need one and the building department determines that through a special inspection or through conversation with them, they need to let us know that, and then the conditional use permit is effective.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have sign-up sheet?
We do not have anybody signed up for this
Okay.
public
Is there
hearing.
anybody in the audience that would like to speak for, against, or undecided on this item? Go ahead and come on up. Please give us your name and address for the record.
Yes, hi, my name is Megan Merkley, and I live off of East Melam Street. If it's okay with the commission, I would like to keep the address private for first responders, if that's okay.
Mr. Chair, we do require for all folks giving public testimony to provide their address for identification purposes. If there's another address that's satisfactory, you can provide that.
Okay.
But we do require that.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We live at 5702 East Melam Street. And I'm undecided on this particular topic. I just more wanted to raise a question on the particular design that was mentioned by the business owner or the applicant, just to make sure that there's no public safety issue with the designs being made, like the particular gunsmithing is not adjusting the weapons above and beyond what their intended purpose is for, just for the safety of the neighborhood as well.
Okay, understand. Yep,
Thank you.
thank you. Is there anybody else? Come on up.
Chair, Commissioner, my name is Jeff Wire. I live at 5588 East Walbrook. I'm literally 2 doors down from the proposed business. I have to say thank you for providing this opportunity for us to speak. I'm a retired Army Sergeant Major, spent 30 years active duty as a paratrooper, so I understand his viewpoint for all this. I was very relieved to hear that he's talking about hand tools and lasers. We're not talking mill machines and lathes and all that type of stuff. So I think my biggest concern that I was having was the noise. The second thing that I would like to bring up a question about is he was talking about doing ballistics, telling about the hand loads. I'm assuming, but I want to clarify that none of those firearms are going to be test fired in the home, in the neighborhood. I assume that we're talking about going to a range to do that. I just want to make sure that's clarified. Also, I know that Mr. Stevens here, you mentioned about other permits. Is there a way to find out from other neighbors? We've had the permits submitted for other at-home business like this. What do those neighbors have to say years later down the road? I know every business is a little bit different. And my final statement is about liability. Is there going to be, what level liability insurance will be needed for a business like this, that in case something does happen, that the homeowner themselves are insured against any, anything accidental that happens. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Okay, if we could get you to go ahead and come back up. Answer some of these questions for us.
So I wasn't exactly sure what you were looking for.
Oh, could you clarify what you mean by the design that you'll be doing? Like what kind
Oh,
of designing of the modifications or anything?
And I think,
Mr. Chair?
yeah,
Maybe addressing this, yeah.
so, yeah,
Okay, I'm
please,
sorry.
please address us. and
Okay,
not the-
I'm sorry.
So I think what they're mainly thinking, what her main question was about was just to make sure that you're not making guns illegal.
Well, no, I think that's
Shaving
the whole purpose of
shaving
getting.
pins, automatic weapons, things like that.
Yes, the whole purpose of getting a federal firearms license, and you're regulated by the ATF. They come out and do inspections and look at your inventory and make sure you're logging firearms in and out appropriately, and you're not doing any kind of illegal modifications to a gun. And most of my stuff would be more on the ends of lapping a barrel, basically slugging it, that type of work. Maybe changing the trigger out, putting a Timney trigger on instead of a factory trigger, a custom trigger, that type of thing. So no, staying totally within the bounds of the law.
And I think it's just important to let the public understand what you have to go through to get to this point.
Yes.
It's not easy, and
No,
there
it's
are a
not.
lot of inspections. Even after you get the license and to continue it, there's a lot of
Yeah,
inspections.
it's an ongoing relationship with the ATF.
ATF, yeah.
So, and I guess as far as the other, the equipment, lasers, they don't make a whole lot of noise. I have fume extractors that basically are hooked right up to the machines, and they suck all the fumes out of it and eliminate 99.7% of the particulates and stuff. So as far as chemicals and stuff in the process of it, I use Simple Green and a sonic cleaner and maybe some acetone to wipe down parts. So there's not a whole lot of chemicals involved with the process either. Was there anything?
Test firing.
Oh, no, no.
Gotta make sure.
Yeah, all firing of guns would be done out at a range. I'm a member of the range in north of here, and I go out to Blacks Creek and shoot on their long-range stuff all the time.
Okay. And then liability insurance. Can you speak about that?
I'm looking into that. We get our insurance through USAA, and they have a program for that, and NRA does as well. So I was kind of waiting until this process was done, and I apply for the ATF, the FFL, before I really start that process. But yeah, I will have full liability insurance.
Okay. Anybody else have other questions? No? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Maybe we could just respond to that question about how, I think one of the questions was any issues that have been expressed about previous conditional use permits.
CUPs, yeah, we could, if you
Yeah.
could speak about that.
There's a police report in there.
Well, I think he was speaking in terms of, in general, have we as a city entity seen multiple complaints or anything negative happen with these CUPs that have been issued? And I don't think so.
Yeah, and in all the years that I've been here, I've never heard of any complaints.
Okay. And, yeah, go ahead.
You're going to say this too, Rodney, there's a process if there is, right?
Yes, and I'll outline that in my presentation. That's just one thing that we didn't add to this one, but there is a process that if someone had a complaint, we could revoke that conditional use permit.
Okay. Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been motioned by Garner, seconded by Morgan to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is closed. What do you guys think?
Any concerns I have are addressed by the conditions, by the ATF, so.
Yeah. And I think these things are always fairly simple, just knowing what the process is to get to this point. Just to get to the point where they're before us there's a lot of steps. A lot of other government involvement and inspection and background checks, and it's not simple. So
Yeah, the first time we heard one of these, I had all of these same questions, and then they're all answered by the approval process they have to go through.
Mr. Chair. I think that this, for me, the scary part is thinking all of the people that maybe are doing this without coming and getting a conditional use permit or going through the process to acquire an FFL. I think that the fact that he's here, the fact that he's getting the license and he's done all the training and he's doing it this way, really puts my mind at ease that he is doing it the right way and he's doing it, as a passion project more than anything.
Yeah.
And so I'm all for, saying yes to this conditional use permit.
I agree.
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve the conditional use permit for home occupation, gun-related sales and services in an RS 8.5 zoning district at 5616 East Walbrook for Mark Bigler, representing Edwards Family Trust, with recommended conditions and proposed findings.
Second.
It's been moved by Morgan, second by Dapper, to approve this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Do you have something to read?
Where's my, right here? Okay. This CUP will become effective 15 calendar days from the date the written decision and reason statement is provided to the applicant, unless an appeal has been filed with the Planning and Zoning Department with the appropriate fee. No action should be taken on this CUP until the appeal period has concluded. The applicant must confirm with Planning and Zoning staff that there have been no appeals.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
a question for Mr. Attorney. This goes back to the young lady's comment about not wanting to give her address. Where is that cited? Is that a policy or is that a statute? They have to.
Want me to address that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that is as much decorum and procedure as it is cited in any policies. There's various practical reasons for it. One is to verify the identity and location of anyone providing testimony. It may have relevance to if their testimony should be given weight if they, for example, live far out of state and they're complaining about something. It also helps for staff to follow up with them if there are other questions. And so there's more practical points on that. I might defer to other staff if there's any other provision that you're familiar with, but a lot of it is more of the decorum and practical basis.
Thank you. I just thought it was necessary to give some explanation as to why, rather than just kind of shut it down and say, nope, that's required. So there are reasons and there are practical reasons behind that. So appreciate your indulgence.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and move on to the second public hearing item, conditional use permit for a home occupational gun-related sales and service in RS6 zoning district at 30 North Sunset Street for William Bullock, original concept, firearm sales and service, primarily online. Is the applicant here?
Yes.
Go ahead and come on up. Name and address for the record, and then just tell us what you want to do.
I'm William Bullock. I live at 30 North Sunset Street. May I have the floor? So I intend to sell firearms and conduct firearm transfers. I'm not going to do any gunsmithing. Services will mainly be arranged online by word of mouth and will occur by appointment only. There will be no retail storefront, nor signage, nor walk-in traffic. This will be a part-time thing for me. I have a full-time job. I work for the Idaho Department of Corrections, so it's very simple.
Mr. Chair, I need to recuse myself from this particular decision.
Okay. for pretty obvious reasons. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
No, sounds pretty straightforward.
Yep. Even less onerous than the last one is.
Okay, thank you. We'll call you back up if we have any questions. Yeah, and nope, you're good.
Jeff?
you have to go sit in the lobby.
Oh, further out?
Yep, further away. Rodney will escort you.
Being escorted by Rodney.
That's right. And Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, if you want for the benefit of the public, the reason for that, when you do a recusal, you are to leave all deliberations. And so not to be present here, to be looking up here at the stand or anything. So that is why it's not for any security reasons. It's more of a fair due process reason.
Yep, thank you for that. Okay, Rodney, you're up.
You lost track where he's at.
I'm sorry, I did lose track. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, this is very similar to the past one. However, there's no manufacturing going on with this one. It's truly for firearm sales, and as he stated, online sales, so no interaction with customers here at the property. Here's the location. It's in the medium-density residential designation on the comp plan. It's zoned R6 and surrounded by all single-family residential. You see the history there. The public utilities are already serving the property. You can see an aerial view of it there. Here's the code that you've already seen, so I'm going to go through this pretty quickly, but it does indicate that it needs a conditional use permit. Again, just kind of sensitive land uses have this requirement that they have a conditional use permit. I'd like to just highlight this real quickly. In our home occupation standards, they have specific conditions about maintaining the residential feel. So I know there was a concern expressed about noise in the past public hearing, and the same thing goes for this one, that nuisances, if it's noisy, if there's noisy situation there, then they can make complaints to the Planning and Zoning Department, and we can investigate it to make sure that it's complying with the condition that this truly be residential area and a land use that is supportive of that residential use. So the complaint procedure, if we get two separate households indicating that there's a concern, then we do the investigation, and then we recommend to the Planning and Zoning Commission whether or not to revoke that conditional use permit. Here are the conditional use permit criteria for approval. You've seen those before. Again, it's almost the same as the last one. The building department was the only other agency that made any comments there, and very similar to the last one. If there's, they may need to get a building permit. So here are the proposed conditions for approval. Again, similar to the last one. The conclusions, I'm not going to necessarily read through this. Normally I would, but it's very similar to the past one, so a lot of the same references are cited here. There's not a lot of difference between the two, except that in this situation, there's no manufacturing at all going on, so I would expect that nuisances would not be an issue. And they have to comply with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and get their ATF permits. So here's a couple of potential motions for your consideration, and then I've listed the formal findings here if you need them.
Thank you, Rodney. Does anybody have any questions for staff? Pretty straightforward. And clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet?
We do not have anybody signed up for this public hearing this evening.
Okay. Is there anybody in the crowd that would like to speak for, against, or undecided on this particular hearing item? None? Do you have anything you'd like to add, or? No?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the applicant one more question.
Okay. If we can get you to come back up, we got one more question.
Sorry. You can walk all the way back up here. Just to clarify, I may have misheard. Will there be, did you say there would be people come into this home by appointment only, or none at all?
Appointment only.
So there, you could
Perform
do
a transfer.
sales,
Excuse me?
so,
Like if, yeah, because you have to run a background check and everything on them.
okay, so you would do sales out of this home by appointment only?
Yes.
Okay. I just thought I heard part of the staff report saying there wouldn't be any business, like any sales done out of the home, but there would be on occasion, but not like just people off the street walking up.
Correct.
Right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved by Morgan, seconded by Kehoe to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is closed. Another pretty simple, straightforward. What do you guys think? Crickets.
Yeah, I mean, same as the last one.
Yeah.
It's pretty well regulated.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move to approve the project as stated on the screen for approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Dapper, second by Selman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Do we close the public hearing?
Yeah. Yeah. The CUP will become effective 15 calendar days from the date the written decision and reason statement is provided to the applicant, unless an appeal has been filed with the Planning and Zoning Department with the appropriate fee. No action should be taken on the CUP until the appeal period has concluded. The applicant must confirm with Planning and Zoning staff that there have been no appeals. Okay. Does someone want to?
Oh, let's leave him back there.
Let him stay.
You'll figure it out when the lights go out.
Oh. You're good, yeah, you're good, you're good. Matt just went to look for you. Yeah, Rodney's over there sleeping again. They're doing some online shopping. Yep. Pretty much the whole time you were gone. Okay, next item, conditional use permit to allow non-enclosed storage and product display in retail parking lot as required in BC zoning district at 2100 12th Avenue Road, located, let's see, for Josh Smith representing Walmart. Is the applicant here?
Josh isn't here.
Joshua? But that's
Josh works
okay.
out of the home office, so I'm James Miller, store manager of Walmart down the road. I live at 11772 West Fenchurch in Boise. And what we're wanting to do is just, it's really what we've been doing since the store opened, is just being able to display our garden merchandise on the parking lot, the bag goods and the shrubbery that we have every year.
Excuse me,
We
Mr.
put
Chair.
out there.
Pardon
Go
me,
ahead.
I apologize, Mr. Chair. Help me figure this one out. My daughter works for Walmart, and she's a front-end manager. Should this be another situation where I should, maybe I shouldn't even come tonight. Maybe that's a, I just want to make sure that a decision, you know what I mean.
The daughter's not the decision maker.
Well, but as a front-end manager, she might be,
I don't know, maybe she can, do something.
she might be involved with whatever the decision of this applicant might be.
Mr. Chair,
It's your turn.
thank you for the question. Thank you for raising it. It's important that we do that always, as a caution. This is a land use decision governed by Idaho's Land Use Planning Act. It does provide for an economic conflict of interest provision. And what the guidance there, and I would support it here, is that nobody on the stand is to participate in any of the deliberations, which would be this. If that person or a person related to them within the second degree has an economic interest in the procedure or act, and a child would be in the first degree.
First degree.
With that, the guidance here would be.
I'll see you. I'll just go sit down.
Should we see if he has a conflict with the next one before?
Really not trying to cause trouble.
Mr. Chair, I think that is enough, so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, now that he's gone, please continue.
What's that?
Please continue.
Well, I think that's really it. If
Yeah.
you've been to our store, it's just like any of our competitors. We all tend to do that, put the merchandise on the outside of the store during the spring and early summer. Rest of the year, it's clear out there. But for that length of time, for the sales we do and to serve our community, we really need to be able to have that product out there available to them. So we would really like to get that permit and continue doing that.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Okay, we'll call you back after we do.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it. Thank you. Okay. Christie? No? Damien? So I need to look at my other sheet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The requested action item tonight is a conditional use permit to allow for non-enclosed storage and product display in the parking lot. Pretty similar to other ones we've seen throughout the year, of the storage of outside goods for seasonal sales and things of that nature. We're good. Sorry, we've been experiencing some technical difficulties, but looks like it's working.
Only you.
So the comprehensive plan designation for this property is commercial. The current zoning is BC, community business. The surrounding land uses to the north, we have some RMH as well as some of the BC zoning, so multifamily and commercial. To the south, we have a business neighborhood, which is very similar to the BC zoning. To the east, we have RML, which is limited multifamily residential, and to the west, we have some more commercial BC zoning. Here are the applicable regulations for a conditional use permit. We will cover these again in the findings. Some other applicable regulations is the description for the BC zoning and the permitted and non-permitting use types. For this, the storage of outside goods would require a conditional use permit, as seen tonight, as well as the parking spaces that is required for the type of retail space that this is. Since this will be taking away some of their parking spots, the parking will need to be analyzed to make sure it meets that code. So for staff analysis on this, the parking analysis showed that the net floor area of the business would require 674 stalls. As it sits right now without the storage, there is currently 796 stalls available. They're overparked by 122. The exterior storage is proposed to take 60 spaces. This leaves them overparked by 62 stalls after these spaces are taken. If approved, the applicant will have a total of 736 stalls. Public interest, NAMPA has determined that this would be in the best public interest. It's just an expansion of the current use. And compatibility, the current use is compatible with the surrounding area, other commercial businesses, and it wouldn't be changing that at all. So for agency comments, we received some comments. We received a comment from the building department that the outside storage shall not reduce or affect the accessible parking spaces or the route of public way. And the International Building Code requires that the accessible parking spaces shall be located in the shortest accessible route of travel, and that the adjacent parking is accessible to the building entrance, and that fire lanes shall not be blocked. Any high pile storage will require additional permits, and that this is subject to all city ordinance, Title IV, and building regulations. Nampa Fire District also provided some comments that they do not propose this application and provided some fire access comments that are pretty standard. We received one public comment. This was regarding the timeline of the noticing for this application through her mailing. However, we submit our mail through planning and zoning 2 weeks ahead of schedule, but we can't determine when it actually arrives at the residence within the 300 feet buffer. And the second was regarding the trash enclosures and regarding the pallets on the back side of the store. However, this application will not be with that area for exterior storage. That is a separate, and we referred them to code compliance. So the proposed findings that the proposed use is supported by the Nampa Comprehensive Plan. Currently, this is zone commercial, the future designation's commercial, and this is just expanding on a current commercial use. That the design, construction, operation, and maintenance of the property will not adversely impact the intended character or appearance of the general vicinity. Parking requirements will have to be met for this application to meet code. That the proposed use will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services. Currently, the property is already being served. That the proposed use will not be detrimental to the economic welfare of the community. This is just expanding on a commercial use. And that the proposed use will not involve any activities or process material or equipment and conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any persons, property, by general welfare, or by reason of excess traffic, noise, smoke, fumes, glares, or odors. And the proposed storage will only be expanding on the current use. So, weighing all of the options, staff found that these conditions were met. Here are the proposed conditions of approval: that the owner applicant will comply with all applicable requirements and obtain proper permits for Nampa Fire, Building, Planning and Zoning, Engineering Departments. As the CUP approval does not, shall not have an effect on gating requirements from those agencies. Here are your potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Mr. Chairman, a couple of questions, if I may, please.
Yes.
Damien, a year and a half or so, 2 years ago, I think you were not here. Is that correct? You were not working here then? Okay.
No, I was not.
At that time, we didn't approve. These never came before us. What changed that we now see these things? I think I'm going to be interrupted by somebody else, like on staff. Go ahead.
Was there a
Mr. Chair.
complaint? Because we've seen a few.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. We have recently employed in the last year some folks who work in the building department, a building official and his assistant, and their job is to bring properties that are not in compliance into compliance. We have not had an enforcement arm like this before. And so it's been very difficult for staff to go out and take care of some of this stuff. This has been on our codes for a long time. We just haven't had the staff to be able to do anything about it. So now we're just trying to get these larger situations like this kind of cleaned up and designated into a very specific space on the property.
Okay. And also, the second question was concerning the concerning the letter from one of the citizens. It was just one letter, and she brought up some salient points. Do we contact her directly, or does she have to just come to the meetings to find out the answers to her question?
So,
all right. Just a minute. I still like the question to be answered.
So we do have a general email for planning and zoning that all of these come to, and we go to and reply to all of these emails, at least try to.
I can't really hear you.
We have a general email for the planning and zoning department, and where we receive these, and we try to reply to all of them. We have somebody designated on staff that replies to the PZL email.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll give you a chance, don't worry.
Anybody else? Questions for staff? Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet? Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to speak? Go ahead and come on up. Name and address for the record, please. Tell us
Sure.
what's on your
Jill
mind.
Hardy, 326 East Greenhurst. I sent the email. I sent it because I was unclear what the permit was for. Since we had never received one of these, I thought it was for containers going outside of the auto area again. If it's the nursery, like everybody likes that, it's nice in the summer. If that's what we're talking about, then I have no concerns beyond the trash, which can be dealt with at a separate meeting potentially. But yeah, thank you for the clarification on that. If it's just the nursery, I can retract my statement, I suppose. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? You have anything you'd like to add? No? Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Been moved by Garner, second by Kehoe to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. So again, it's just cleanup, right? They've been doing it for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
They keep it clean, they put their barriers up.
So all the storage will have, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, ask Clifford.
You're good.
All the storage will have to be in the yellow area on that plan moving forward, Damien?
That is correct.
Dumb question, good answer.
Wasn't a dumb question.
Not a dumb question.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I think it's a good deal to get it cleaned up and to have the proper permits for it. So if there's no other discussion, I would move that we approve the project as stated on the screen with all recommended conditions and findings of fact.
Second.
It has been moved by Garner, second by Kehoe to approve this project as stated on the screen. Is there, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And again, right? Okay, the CUP will become effective 15 calendar days from the date the written decision and reason statement is provided to the applicant, unless an appeal has been filed with the Planning and Zoning Department with the appropriate fee. No action should be taken on this CUP until the appeal period has concluded. The applicant must confirm with the Planning and Zoning staff that there have been no appeals. You? Okay, we will move on to our fourth item. Conditional use permit for a foster care facility for 8 teenage boys as an unlisted land use, an RD zoning district at 115 13th Avenue North for Jacqueline Sherwood representing LTO Properties LLC. Facility used as a home for up to 8 teenage boys in the state foster care system and watched over by adult caretakers. Is the applicant here?
Good evening. Thank you for giving me this time to talk to you guys. I do have some handouts if you're interested in looking at this while I'm talking, or not. But my name is, sorry, go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah?
You were just about ready to do it.
My name is Jacqueline Corral Sherwood. I'm the Chief Administrator and owner of Treasure Valley Transition Home. My husband, Scott Sherwood, and I have been owning and operating Treasure Valley Transition Home together since January 2024. I'm a licensed clinical social worker.
Address if you could, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. My personal address or the work address?
Either or.
13 North Adams Street, Nampa, Idaho, 83646, or excuse me, 83651.
Thank you.
All right. So I previously worked for the state of Idaho with the Idaho Department Child Welfare Program. And as a state employee, I would place young men in foster care at Treasure Valley Transition Home with the original owner and founder, Rick Toll. And so Treasure Valley Transition Home exists to provide as close to a foster home experience as possible, to provide some normalcy, some nurturing, some independent living skills to prepare these young men in foster care for young adulthood. So in partnership, we've learned over the last 20 years that it definitely takes a village, and so I do have some pretty amazing partners here with me that have made this program so successful. So I'd like to introduce them. They're available to help answer any questions as well. I have Luis Granados from Breaking Chains Development Academy, and he's here. He spent the last 13 years educating and mentoring youth in Nampa, and he's graciously partnered with TBTH and has been providing GED education to our boys for many years. I have John Mitchell from Inspire Idaho, and he is the founder and executive director of Inspire Idaho, which he's generously just dedicated his time to providing a group of volunteers that are providing mentoring opportunities, life skills workshop, and vocational training to our young men. And then I also have Rick Toll, the original founder of Treasure Valley Transition Home. In 2005, Rick saw an unmet need for these young men in the system, and so he built this home, and he spent the last 20 years dedicating his life to helping these young men prepare for adulthood. In 2021, Rick graciously extended his invitation to me to come partner with him at Treasure Valley Transition Home so that I can eventually take the torch so he can retire and start some new adventures. And so after 3 years of intentional planning and preparation of working together, we did a transfer of ownership. And so I've been running Treasure Valley Transition Home since 2021, but it's existed since 2005. I also have 2 Treasure Valley Transition Home alumni today. Josh, he was an alumni from 2017. He graduated from Valley View High School in 2018. Since his graduation, Josh has been very successful in several different careers. He's maintained steady income, stable housing. He's motivated to give back to the community and be a positive influence to other young men experiencing foster care. I also have Robbie, and he was in Treasure Valley Transition Home 6 years ago. He graduated from Breaking Chains with his GED. He's maintained employment, he's maintained financial stability, he's maintained a healthy long-term relationship with his partner, and they will be celebrating their 1-year anniversary in October and welcoming their first child into their family in December. So, so they're here to help answer any questions you might have. I wanted to speak a little bit about our commitment to the community as well, because we're just as committed to protecting our neighbors and our community just as we are to helping our young men. So we provide 24/7 supervision in the house. As they earn their privileges of being unsupervised in the community, they go to school, they go to work, they hang out with their friends. If they're late, they're grounded. So we are just giving them as close to a normal teenage life as possible. Our staff, once they're hired, they're initially trained in Think Trauma, which is a curriculum that was developed by the Juvenile Department of Corrections. And then we offer one-on-one coaching weekly and then monthly team trainings. We have the state requirement of staff is 1 to 8, so we only need to have 1 staff on site because we only have 8 boys, but we provide at least 2 staff from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So that they have the opportunity to get out in the community, get to their appointments, get to activities. And so we have plenty of parking for our staff. This current property, the property that we're hoping to purchase to move to, there's parking along the side for our company cars. We got 2 company cars, and then parking in the back of our lot because we have an alley in the back that our employees can park in. Excuse me. So this new property will be able to accommodate us without interfering with the current neighbors. So I do want to add that the police presence at TVTH has been kept to a minimum. So just in the last couple of years, we've had to contact law enforcement a total of 20 times. 14 of them are runaways, which is our state contract with the Department of Health and Welfare requires when they're not home on time, they're a runaway. So 12 of these 14 times, they were home within a few hours or the next morning. So only 2 times in the last couple of years have young men run away and ran away from our home. 4 of these calls were for conflict between peers, but nothing that had like significant medical needs or injuries like that. A few times we did call for mental health support, but I will add, in the 20 years that TVTH has been operating, no staff have ever been harmed by residents, and our neighbors have never had to call or press charges on any of our residents. And so we've been in our current home for 20 years, and we're just looking to relocate to a new home, 5 minutes down the road. So a benefit that the community has, oh, sorry, I see they're running out of time here, so let me just give you my final thoughts. So we're not requesting anything new, we're just asking that you'll allow us to continue to do the work we've been doing the last 20 years, just 5 minutes down the road. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody have questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I do.
I told you I'd get out of this.
Now the attorney has me second guessing every single thought that's running through my head. But you mentioned in the organizations Breaking Chains and Inspire Idaho. So quick question, and this might be a long shot here, but has Breaking Chains or Inspire Idaho, because those are familiar groups and organizations to me in where I work, have they had any interaction with the Department of Corrections or just with the juvenile corrections?
I know Breaking Chains might. Oh, juvenile corrections. Okay, thank you.
All right, I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah.
Ooh, 50.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call you back.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Christy,
All right.
am I right this time?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Christy Watkins, Principal Planner for the City of Nampa. As stated, the request before you this evening is for a conditional use permit to allow a foster care facility for 8 teenage boys that is an unlisted land use in our 1032 schedule of uses. The property is in the community mixed use zone. It is zoned RD, which is a residential zone. To the north is RD. To the south is RS6, which is single family. To the east is light industrial. There are non-conforming single and multifamily housing and industrial businesses in that area. And to the west is RD, single family housing, and some IL with non-conforming single family and multifamily housing. So a history of the use, you've read your staff report, but I just kind of want to give you a little bit of an update on the property that they're at currently. 13 North Adams is in an RML zone. It was granted a conditional use permit in July of 2007. We contacted the police department, and they looked back for 2 years at the location at 13 North Adams and have stated that they have no concerns with the types of calls that they're getting at that location. So I just wanted you guys to know that being that they've been in operation for as long as they've been in operation, the police department doesn't really have any major concerns with their operation. So 1032, unlisted land uses. When a land use is not listed in the schedule of uses, we can bring it to you for a conditional use permit. Due to code changes since 2007, we were unable to find a category that is similar to the previous description that was at North Adams Street. Therefore, the Planning and Zoning Director has determined that it should follow the same procedure as it did at the previous address and apply for a CUP to be transferred to the new location as an unlisted land use. The property is 7,000 square feet in size with street frontage on 13th Avenue North and access through the alley in the back. The City of Nampa supports the well-being and welfare of children who are in need of temporary care and support. A foster care home serves as a safe and nurturing environment for these children and provides them with stability, emotional support, and growth opportunities. The property has utilities and emergency services available to it, as well as convenient access to schools, healthcare, and recreational facilities that are nearby. The subject property has an existing single-family home with single-family homes immediately adjacent to it on all sides. There will be no changes made to the residence aside from those required by the Nampa Building Department for safety. So the Nampa Building Department has requested a commercial permit for R3 occupancy. Again, they'll probably just need to call and have a special inspection done by Sean Nichols, who is the code compliance building official, and he will come and take a look and determine if there are any extra improvements that need to be made for the bathrooms or any of that kind of thing. These are the proposed conditions of approval. So the proposed use is supported by the comprehensive plan. The design and construction and operation and maintenance of the property and project will not adversely impact the intended character of the general vicinity. The proposed use will be served by essential public facilities and services. It will not be detrimental to the economic welfare of the community, and it will not involve activities or processes or materials that will be detrimental to any of the property or persons in the area. These are your potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Questions?
Mr. Chair. Okay. Just I'm surprised that the city doesn't have some land designation for these types of homes, transition type homes, because there seems to be quite a few in Nampa. Maybe there's no need, I don't know, but there just seems to be quite a few. And why? And I guess my question is it something the city needs to maybe look at?
Mr. Chair, it's going to be a lengthy answer.
Okay.
We do have a category for transition homes, but those are for people coming out of correctional facilities and re-entering life.
Yep.
We do have a category for group care facilities up to 8 beds or beyond that require a conditional use permit, but those are typically for people who are receiving some sort of medical care or treatment of some kind. These folks are not.
This just falls right in between the...
It's a business
Yeah.
in a residence, and so that's why it's kind of an undetermined land use, because it's still a residence. We don't have a definition for family. There are no parents necessarily on site. It's employees that are on site. So how do you categorize that? So, and I remember Norm having this same conversation in 2007 when we talked about it the first time. It's just a really, really hard thing to define. And so a CUP seemed like the right way to go at that time, and since it's a transfer of the exact same thing, we thought we would just stay in line with what they did previously.
Thank you.
Makes sense. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have a sign-up sheet? Is there anybody that would like to speak on this item? Go ahead and come on up. Remember, just give us your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, hi, my name is Robert Ladnier. I live at 1204 West Dakota Street. I aged out of the group home in 2019, and it was honestly such a great experience overall. Being able to be in the system and experience very, very many things that were good and bad, and then having the opportunity to go into a house that had other kids who were in situations like me, and being face to face with staff who were really not a whole lot older than I was at the time. A lot of them were mid-20s, early 30s, and being able to get the advice and the care and seeming like they cared was a very great experience for me. I met my wife there. We've been together for almost 7 years now, and we have a baby on the way. And it was a great experience overall for me personally. It was a great environment to live in. Out of all the homes I was in, that was the best one, for sure. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Pretty straightforward.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
My name is Luis Granados. Address is 10269 Crystal Ridge Drive, Nampa. In my role as executive director of Breaking Chains Academy and doing this work for the last 13 years, I've had the great privilege to be able to share my life with a lot of the young men who come from the Treasure Valley Transition Home, and I can tell you straightforward that they quickly become some of our favorites. We have many partnerships throughout the Treasure Valley, and I have to say that my favorite is with the Treasure Valley Transition Home. And that's because they understand that it takes a lot more than just food and a roof over your head to create successful adults for our community and productive members of our community. It takes nurture, and that's what I see Jacqueline and her staff do. They roll up their sleeves and they create and provide that love, care, and support that is needed to empower these youth and to create productive members of our community. Organizations like this are the reason why I'm proud to live in Nampa, because I know there's organizations like this that empower our youth and fill in any gaps that there might be. As you all know, they are the future leaders of our community, and you see two gentlemen sitting there with great lives ahead of them who are productive members of this community now because they're a product of this amazing organization. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
How's it going, guys? My name is Joshua Taylor. I live at 1632 Martha Street in Boise, apartment 21. And I really just thought it was super important that I came and talked to you guys today, whether she asked me to or not. I kind of have a unique foster care story. It's really not like the regular one. You know, I've been grateful that I haven't had the life that a lot of many foster kids have, especially here in Idaho, considering probably a lot of you don't know that we have one of the worst foster care systems in the United States. And just having the privilege of people like this, Rick and Jacqueline, to be able to run a facility like this, I mean, it really doesn't compare. I would go as far as to say I probably wouldn't even be alive here in front of you guys today. The situation I was in at the time before I met the gentleman in the green right there, who has probably had the biggest impact on my life ever. That man means everything to me. He came and picked me up in a hospital when I really thought my life was over, and you know, that was going to be it for me. I was going to be known as crazy because, you know, no one would listen to me until this gentleman came and picked me up. And from there, that really changed my life. I had every opportunity to be able to do everything I ever wanted to do because of that guy. And then specifically with Jacqueline, I've known her. It's crazy now that she runs that facility, because when I was in there, I used to be part of a group called the Idaho Foster Youth Advisory Board. And Jacqueline sat on that group, basically helping youth to be able to share their story, to be able to be productive members of society. I truly tell you guys from the bottom of my heart, if it wasn't for Treasure Valley Transition Home, I wouldn't be as successful as I am today. Not even just alive. Rick and Jacqueline, both of those guys, not only does she go out of the way for the kids that are there now, but when I was there with Rick, I did all sorts of things, guys. I was lifting weights. I was going to school. I was working. I was never late to any of that because of that gentleman taking the time out of his day every day to make sure that I made it everywhere. And it's not like he didn't need to take me to the gym. He didn't need to take me to work. You know, that's really things that a lot of adults in my age were still figuring out. You'll actually learn a lot of facilities don't help kids with like that. So it's pretty unique that I had an opportunity to be with this gentleman. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys. And truly from the bottom of my heart, these guys are special people. And in the community, I think if it wasn't there, Nampa would not be the same as it is, especially for the young children they've helped throughout the years. So thank you guys for the opportunity to share that with you guys.
Thank you. Anybody else? You have anything left that you'd like to say, Jacqueline? No? It's all been said for you?
I mean, I could talk for hours.
Okay.
I move that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Been moved by Dapper, second by Kehoe to close public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is closed. So what do you guys think?
Mr. Chair, can I just make a comment? I don't think I need to convince anyone on this board how this decision is going to go. And hopefully I can make my comment without getting emotional. I didn't. These folks sitting in this chair are absolute angels. Angels sent from God I loved what you said, and thank you for not allowing these boys to get to the point where I have to see them where I work, because it's just a horrible situation. We need more. This is, I think, what makes Nampa truly a special place. The heartbeat of this community is folks like this, that reach out to these kids that are struggling. At the end of the rope, they don't have anywhere to go. I'm familiar with Breaking Chains. I'm familiar with Inspire Idaho, and and I've heard of this organization before, but I just want to publicly comment and thank you for what you're doing. We need you to do more. We need you to do more of this, because there's a lot of kids out there that need your help and they need your guidance. So again, thank you. And if you didn't notice by now, if you haven't caught it yet, I'm absolutely 100% for this, and we'll be voting yes. And Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to move that we approve the project as stated on the screen for approval with the recommended conditions and proposed findings.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the project as stated on the screen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed?
It's literally.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
This CUP will become effective 15 calendar days from the date his written decision and reason statement is provided to the applicant unless an appeal has been filed with the Planning and Zoning Department with the appropriate fee. No action should be taken on this CUP until the appeal period has concluded. Applicant must confirm with Planning and Zoning staff that there have been no appeals. Okay, thank you for what you guys do.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Peggy?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Selman,